Does Barrister here know about a man called Sheikh Gumi? Do you know him?
Yes, I know him.
Who is he? And is he free walking about on the streets today? The angle you guys are going, honestly, is driving me crazy. You have left the substance of the issue. It's just like somebody who is busy digging foundation forever when others are busy building houses. The issue about Mazi Nnamdi Kanu has nothing to do with the law. I've said it over and over again. If you keep on arguing that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu did this with his legal paper, he's supposed to be represented by his legal representatives, that he started his legal representative, that's the reason why he was convicted, you are missing the point, because that is not the point. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu was convicted and is in this position because he is an Igbo man. Full final stop. You mentioned NSAS. Do you know that there is a report on NSAS by the local state government? Do you know that? Do you know that there is a commission on NSAS? Can you point out where on NSAS Mazi Nnamdi Kanu was convicted? Or it was mentioned that it had anything to do with terrorism? None. If he was not mentioned as somebody who calls it based on the evidence that the court is rendering, and then the court is using it to convict him for terrorism, don't you see that there is a fault there? It is on record as well. I saw it. The television broadcasted it. A Fulani herdsman was out and said it expressly there. Do cows give birth to guns? These guns that we are using to terrorize these communities was given to us by politicians. This person is not in court. Those politicians were not indicted. Another major fact is those who were expressly sponsoring Boko Haram, those from the north, we are convicted. We are expressly indicted. Their names were published in court in the US. Nigeria kept quiet because they are not honest. Another major one is Sunday Igboho. Sunday Igboho was carrying arms. He's a Yoruba man. Sunday Igboho, as I'm talking to you now, is free walking about on the street. Walking about on the street.
There is no. Nnamdi Kanu was tried at the federal court and was charged with federal crime. And Nigeria practices federal system of government. We may or may not agree with that. Under the federal system, Nigeria is one. Wherever they will decide to send him to serve his prison term, is within the law.
Even though it deviates from the family rules or the medical rules.
No, there is no rule which says that if you are sent to prison, you have to stay close to your family. These are just mere considerations that we are just imputing into the law. They are not there. They are not in our laws. That if you are sentenced to prison, you have to serve in a place where your wife will be coming to visit you or where your mother will be coming to visit you.
Good evening and welcome once again to your usual delight on Glasscast podcast. Remember, we provide analysis for important issues, no matter where it happens, as long as it's under the sun globally. We provide analysis. And because we have been looking at developments in Nigeria, today we are not talking about 1 week or one trouble for Nigeria, but we are talking of a recent development, the Judgment Day. So the judgment has come and gone. And if you're in Nigeria, if you're in diaspora, if you are everywhere, even in the international press, the BBC has it that a British Nigerian narrowly escaped death sentence by getting life in prison. So it's an international news. And we want to do a bit of analysis on that judgment of 20th November 2025. And as a prelude to this episode, I would encourage you to look at our recent episode on this same case, whether it's political, judicial, cultural, or social, or a case of personal vendetta. Let's look at it in a holistic manner and see what we can get out of this discussion this evening. I have my usual panel here. The elder of Glasscast, we call him the son of Glasscast, who would always give us a very objective and constructive analysis from the legal and policy point of view. And with us again is the Mazi of Glasscast, who is so renowned and grounded in national and international legal system and jurisprudence. So, on this note, I don't want to do too much talking because we have a lot to say from here. And all I want to say is welcome to Mazi.
Thank you very much.
And welcome to the elder of Glasscast.
Dr. Eze, thank you so much. Somebody was saying that if you're in a room and you count 5 fools in that room and you're in that room, that means you didn't count properly. So, but yours is on a positive note. The way you are dishing out legal terms. So now you are being in a room with 2 lawyers. Probably we didn't count well. You are now the 3rd lawyer.
lawyer by practice.
Lawyer by practice. The third lawyer in the studio. You are doing a good job. Always a pleasure to be with you here. And,
thank you very much.
Mazi, thank you so much. I know we don't agree on so many things.
Maybe we might agree this evening.
We might agree this evening.
Yeah, talking of Mazi, Mazi here, we will use this to start this discussion today in the question of the legality and the imprisonment of Mazi, not Mazi in the room today, but Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, the leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, a movement that seek for the independence of the sovereign state of Biafra from Nigeria. That case have taken over 10 years, and it was brought to a preliminary conclusion, I would say, by the 20th of November. Although there are still some assumptions that the case will continue at a higher level. So I want to get your insight. I want to start with Maz. Maz, what do you think about this case?
I think I will start from exactly calling it what Dele Farotimi called it, that Nigeria should know that this is, I think the word is fiery queen. Fiery queen in the sense that a soldier a king who went to war with his soldiers and ends up winning a battle, but with all his soldiers dead. Are you going to call that a win? So at the end of the day, Nigeria might think that they have won, but they didn't win. They didn't win because it is the death of freedom in Nigeria. If you look at the judgment, the court basically read out a prepared script. And in that prepared script, he mentioned something every law student knows is false. Every international lawyer knows is false. Even every civil jurisprudence knows is false, which is that, yes, that Nnamdi Kanu as a group, has a right to self-determination, which is a right under international law, but that it cannot override Nigerian law. I think he said Nigerian constitution. What that means is that there is a failure by the court, the Nigerian system, the judge, to recognize that there are certain things that we call jus cogens in law, meaning that they are laws that even your own constitution cannot derogate from. So you cannot say that he has a right under international law to self-determination, but it cannot override Nigerian law. That means you are contradicting yourself. It shows that you don't even know the law. And for the mere fact that not up to 24 hours or thereabout after the scripted judgment was pronounced, he was transferred to Sokoto, the seat of the caliphate. That, in fact, on the judgment, even before I reached there, to show you the kind of system that Nigeria is. When somebody is convicted, I think I need to clarify this point for our viewers. When somebody is convicted in law, there's always a report, a social report, before a sentence is pronounced. There are two different things, conviction and sentence. Maybe lawyers will understand that. Our son here will understand that. The process of sentencing someone.
Please qualify it. I'm not a senior advocate of Nigeria. Let's not.
The last cast son.
I don't like misleading viewers. I'm not a senior advocate of Nigeria.
But he's a lawyer. That was the basis.
No
so
doubt.
when somebody is convicted, then the next stage is to sentence the person. There is no generic sentence in law for everybody. It doesn't happen. And before a sentence can be fairly imposed, you need to look at a report of that person. The kind of report, you look at the circumstances of the person. You look at, by circumstances, I mean the person's family, the history of the person's health, the person's previous criminal convictions. You understand? You look at a whole lot of things before you can pronounce sentence. There is no courts that are practiced in that I know that has a pre-sentence report before conviction. It doesn't happen. The implication is that you have already decided to convict the person and then had a pre-sentence report before you then issued the conviction.
I know Elder would want to say something here, but I want to interrupt you here. Because, we'll look at the circumstances of this case. The question I want to put to you here is, don't you think because the defendant refused to enter defense and the judge have to take the required action, don't you think the precedence of activities could have led to this position you are explaining at the moment?
No, those things are totally two different things. The defendant refusing to put in a defense, you can say it might lead to the facts of the case on his own side not being put out to the court, and as such, leading to his conviction. But that is different from the sentence itself. The sentence itself is a different matter.
But so the sentence would have taken note of some of the ingredients or some of the contents of the defense that were presented.
No, sentencing in itself. That's why I keep emphasizing that Nigeria is a dead state. President Trump.
I hope people will agree.
It's a fact. President Trump called it disgraceful. And people are trying as much as possible to extricate themselves from even condemning what President Trump said so that they don't get sanctioned. It's a disgraceful country. So when you look at a sentence and all the things that should come into a sentence, there is no way you will declare, and for such a complicated trial, as Nnamdi Kanu had taken a decade, there is no way that you will convict somebody and instantly issue the person life imprisonment sentence and then transfer the person within 24 hours to Sokoto. That's why I called it a written script that was read by the court.
I know.
If you recall in the last episode when we discussed Mazi, two of us, at least, we agreed on a point. That the fact that the legal team has withdrawn, I use this word that it's going to be a miracle of a virgin birth for him to get out of this. And here we are. We have landed in this case of him being convicted. So for you to say it's a prepared script, well, you are entitled to your opinion, which I do respect. But considering what has played out, how we have seen this trial go, there are some political undertones to it. He has a right to self-determination, which the court also acknowledged, confirmed in the judgment. But then, some of the things you mentioned here, jus cogens, the extraordinary rendition and those things, we are not properly put before the courts as part of his defense, if you remember. And in law, any claim that is not contradicted or controverted is taken to be admitted. He made a case of no case submission, which the courts, struck down or denied. to enter his defense. And he did not enter a proper defense. It comes down to the argument I made the other time. Yeah, he has a right to self-determination. I gave an example of Britain leaving EU, Scotland wanting referendum. But I may not, align myself with some of the ways that he adopts, the approach that he uses. Particularly, having to say that I'm going to stand and defend myself in such a crime of terrorism. So it begs the question of the approach I'm talking about. Which approach is he adopting before we even get to criticizing the judge? Because if he's, keep in mind, if a lawyer defends you in a criminal case, there are some technical issues. There are some points as a trained lawyer he will put forward. There are some loopholes that the lawyer can even, lash on, can capitalize on to get you free out of it. But this man knows it all.
So can I ask you something?
Let me finish. He knows it all. Okay. He talks. I'm sorry to say this, behaves in an unruly way in court.
No,
to be told.
I totally disagree.
Okay. When he says that God should punish somebody forever, is it
even the way he shouts in court, even the way he talks, that's enough to cite him for contempt. You cannot stand up, whether you are accused, no matter. There are people that have been tried falsely, people that have been tried for trumped up charges, but they didn't behave in that way.
How do you know that? Can I ask?
How do I know that?
Yes.
We see the videos of the shouting
of him, exactly. How many other people have you seen their trials televised and you didn't see that? I myself was present in Enugu during the Oputa panel when Obasanjo took over. Oputa panel was sitting justice and he sat in several locations in Nigeria. I physically attended it as a law student. I was there. I saw how defendants in that trial, very emotional, how they were shouting, how they were.
That was not a trial. Those people had no power to. It's not like a
commission. Remember,
yeah, it wasn't a trial proper. The way you behave in a commission is different from the way you behave in a court.
A commission has the power for contempt. That's why the head of that commission is a judge. It's a justice. It has certain powers that are given that are given to judges,
but not the power to cite somebody for contempt.
No, a commission can, when a commission invites you to come and give evidence, testimony, and you fail to come, they can cite you for contempt.
But let's not go too far. Let's not derail from
the point I'm trying to make. Let me make that point. The point I am trying to make. You are saying this thing that Nnamdi Kanu said in court because you saw it on television during trial. You cannot categorically say that other people don't do that. Because you don't know.
I have been in court also.
Yes.
As a lawyer.
Yes.
I have practiced. I have been to Supreme Court. I have been to Court of Appeal. I have seen witness trials.
Yes.
Of high level. I have been a lawyer for
you witnessed terrorism trial before.
Well, how many people have been tried for terrorism?
Exactly. So that's why you should know that his own case is an exception.
I'm telling you, I have witnessed high profile cases and how defendants are accused behave in court. Even here in the UK, when judge is sentencing you, he will take into consideration of your behavior. Even when you are sentenced to prison, when you go to prison, they can release you earlier because of your behavior. Is that not true?
So you mean that Nnamdi Kanu had been sentenced already?
No. I'm just giving you an example of how somebody's behavior can impact on the sentencing or even time he might spend in prison. The point I'm making is your behavior, your conduct, your comportment, your respect for the judge who is trying you, even though he's political, I'm not saying he is political. I don't have any evidence to that. Even if he is political, you should respect yourself. You should behave. You should comport. How could you? All of a sudden, your legal team is withdrawn and you are the one defending yourself. You are not a lawyer. You have not been to law school. You are not called to the bar. But you will defend a terrorism charge, the accused, with separation of terrorism. I think you will go free.
Why I am disagreeing with my colleague here is because he's very quick to point at the law where Nnamdi Kanu is in terms of what the Nigerian judiciary is doing is in accordance with the law, and he doesn't fault it, even though they might be wrong. But he refused that what Nnamdi Kanu did by deciding to represent himself is as well in accordance with the law. So why are you faulting that?
No, I'm not saying he has a right. You have a right to either represent yourself in person or to get a lawyer to represent you.
It depends on the charge.
But what I'm saying
it
is
doesn't
that
depend on the charge. You can
I'm going back to
represent
our
yourself.
previous episode that I didn't fault his right to represent himself.
Yes.
What I'm saying is that you are going to represent yourself, but you're not going to get out of this problem.
It doesn't. No. Remember
that's what I said. And I stand by that.
So what you are saying, in effect, is that Nnamdi Kanu's conviction was because he represented himself.
Let me say something. Largely, it's because he represented himself, because he did not put out a proper defense. One, bad case, no good lawyer. If you have a bad case, you have a bad case. You may be represented by a lawyer and still get convicted, but then you worsen your situation when you are self-representing. If you had a 50-50 chance of being extricated from that problem, then you represent yourself. You have a less than 30% chance of succeeding. Truth be told, why do we go to train as lawyers? Why do we go and learn to defend clients, to represent them? There are things you will see that the client will not see. But that's not the main argument or the issue for discussion here.
I
want to look at this way.
Yes.
Based on what the elder is saying here, I will come to the elders just in a minute. But if you look at this, it looks like, I'm not a lawyer, but let's take it, just do an analysis of it. Imagine a law is a profession, and you need professionals to get you through the process. Medicine, surgery is a profession. So what it looks like, what Nnamdi Kanu has done is he has a surgery that he needs to complete, and because he felt that he doesn't agree with his team of surgeons, he decided to, I'm going to cut myself and operate myself and get this.
Let me take you on this. Even when you go to hospital for surgery, there are people that I call anesthesiologists, the ones that will put you to bed when you sleep and prepare you. There are nurses who will take care of you. There are pharmacists, even when the medicine is prescribed for you, you go there, they would dispense it and give it to you. So all these things are there. When I was practicing in Nigeria, we have people we call office clerks. They go do the filings. I can tell you, a few times I've gone to do the filing by myself as a lawyer. I failed woefully. But these clerks have been there. They know where to go, where to find the affidavit, where to do all those things. There was a day I sent the clerk to go, and I thought he was wasting my time. I went myself. I couldn't find my way around. So all these things is so intricate, and for him to stand and call everybody, the bluff of everybody, and he would defend himself and get away with it. I said it before and I'm saying it again. Unfortunately, this is where he has gotten him to. Then we may have to talk about the substance of the
and that is where I was.
I need to make a reply to what the two of you say.
Can I ask that question before you make the reply? One of the, he was convicted on 7 counts, and one of the counts is the act of inciting the NSAS protest in 2020. How do you see that aspect of the judgment?
One, I haven't the opportunity to know the evidence that was put before the court as on that particular charge, because in any case, the prosecution has to prove their case beyond reasonable doubt to secure conviction. One, if the judge is convinced, because what the judge will say is that I have analyzed, I have examined the evidence before me, and if he has sufficient evidence to say that he incited this protest or this violence, then he can be convicted on that. I will not tell you here the judge was right or the judge was wrong, because I do not have the privilege of seeing the evidence put forward by the prosecution on that particular charge to get him convicted. Now, if he was wrongly convicted because of lack of sufficient evidence, remember, the criminal case has to be proved beyond reasonable doubt. For civil cases, is a balance of probability. So this one, you have to prove it beyond every shade of reasonable doubt. The reasonable man can say, okay, yeah, you have proved this case beyond doubt and is convicted on that. Then that could be overturned on appeal. That is if he will be able to submit to the advice of legal professionals.
So let me say what I want to say. The angle you guys are going, honestly, it's driving me crazy. The reason why it's driving me crazy
Must not go
is
crazy.
because you have left the substance of the issue. It's just like somebody who is busy, will I say, digging foundation forever, when others are busy building houses. The issue about Mazi Nnamdi Kanu has nothing to do with the law. I've said it over and over again. If you keep on arguing that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu did this with his legal people, he's supposed to be represented by his legal representatives, that he started his legal representative, that's the reason why he was convicted, you are missing the point. Because that is not the point. Now, I'm going to give you facts. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu was convicted and is in this position because he is an Igbo man. Full final stop. This thing that you let me land, because I said I will give you facts, and those facts are coming. I'm going to dish them out.
Let's dish out the facts.
They are coming. You mentioned NSAS. Do you know that there is a report on NSAS by the Lagos State government? Do you know that? Do you know that there is a commission on NSAS? Can you point out where on NSAS Mazi Nnamdi Kanu was convicted, or it was mentioned that it has anything to do with terrorism? None.
Yeah, but
that report.
But his name appeared in that report.
But the report never said that he caused NSAS.
Well, it was a report.
Okay, if a commission was set up and the report was established and Mazi Nnamdi Kanu was not involved in that commission, in terms of the... Wait, I am trying to land. Okay. If he was not mentioned as somebody who caused it based on the evidence that the court is rendering, and then the court is using it to convict him for terrorism, don't you see that there is a fault there? But that one aside, and a major point that I want to highlight is this. In Nigeria today, we know that Danjuma, I don't know whether it's T.Y. Danjuma. It's on record that Danjuma said expressly that Nigerians should be prepared to carry arms and defend themselves. Danjuma said it. Danjuma is alive today, walking about. He's not the only one who said it.
Remember, there was a contest on which...
There is always a contest. You talk about carrying arms. A former director of DSS also said that. Then, it is on record as well. I saw it. The television broadcasted it. A Fulani herdsman was out and said it expressly there. Do cows give birth to guns? These guns that we are using to terrorize these communities was given to us by politicians. This person is not in court. Those politicians were not indicted. Another major fact is those who are expressly sponsoring Boko Haram, those from the north, we are convicted. I am landing because I'm telling you our facts. We are expressly indicted. Their names were published in court in the US. Nigeria kept quiet because they are northerners. Another major one, of which my colleague here knows very well, is Sunday Igboho. Sunday Igboho was carrying arms. He's a Yoruba man. Sunday Igboho, as I'm talking to you now, is free walking about on the street. Walking about on the street. When it comes to our own man, an Igbo man, that is when our own brothers will be talking about the legalities, why he is supposed to submit himself to the court, and why he should go. What are you people talking about?
Now,
let us face the issue.
Now, let us face the issue. Let us face the issue. And I believe you that is following us, you that is watching this analysis, you have your own opinion, you have your own suggestions, you have your own comment on this subject. Please do us a favor by sending us your comments, your opinion, your suggestions through our comment section. We want to hear from you. We want to learn also from you, because this analysis is based on the available data and available evidence that inform what we are discussing here. Do engage with us. Let us make this conversation more liberal so that everybody could engage. Let us know what you think about this.
Let me respond let me start with you mentioned the commission, the report of the NSAS report of NSAS by commission set up by Lagos State government. One, Nnamdi Kanu was not tried in Lagos High Court. And I do not think that the judge convicted him based on the evidence of the reports of the NSAS. I don't think that's supported.
I don't think you should say that. I think you should pause on that and read the judgment.
Okay.
Yes.
What does the judgment say? That's by the fact that he was not mentioned in this report and we're going to convict him. I do not think that was the evidence that the prosecution used to secure conviction on that particular charge. That is an aside. Secondly, I'm not talking about Sunday Igboho here. I'm not talking of Boko Haram. When we have episode on them, I will tell you what my position is on those ones. And sitting here as a lawyer, I am talking about law, fair hearing, requirements of the law, conviction, sentencing, and imprisonment. That's what I'm talking about. Then when we come to the issue of what happens in Nigeria, is Nigeria one nation or not, then I should be able to also make my points clear on that. But one thing you should know is that there's something my mom used to tell me when we were much younger. He said, okay, so long with mommy. That's if a rat follows a lizard to go out in the rain, the lizard's water on his body will dry quicker than that of a rat, because the rat is hairy. So that is why we should tread more carefully and more cautiously, so that even when we are fighting for self-determination, which is the right you have mentioned in international law, which I will not argue with, then we should do it in a legal, systematic, and proper way. I have said this, I've said it before. I am not against self-determination. If the referendum is put out, he might be surprised the way I will vote, which is going to be a secret ballot. I don't want to let it out to the public. You might be surprised the way I'm going to vote, but I keep saying it. The approach we are going about this thing is not helping us in any form of shape. Knowing that what others do and go free, if we do it, we might not be lucky to go that free. And this is where we are. This is where it has landed us into.
This is where it has landed us into. And one thing we need to take clear from is that, Maz, you mentioned different names from different perspectives. And one thing, I believe the judge that passed the judgment passed it based on the position of the law. And we know that in Nigeria today, IPOB is still a proscribed organization, and they are termed terrorist organization within the Nigerian law, and it's within the Nigerian law that this judgment was passed. Do you have any objection to that?
I made the mistake one day when I was writing something to call someone a terrorist in front of a professor. And after I finished a kind of elaborating on what I was trying to explain, she drew my attention and told me that one thing I must not forget is that the definition of terrorism is not static.
It's contextual.
Yeah. You understand? Mm-hmm. Remember that Nelson Mandela, to America and the British, was a terrorist. Nelson Mandela.
But not in South Africa.
But not in South
IPOB
not in South Africa.
Yeah.
Not before apartheid. To apartheid apartheid South Africa. Nelson Mandela was more than a terrorist.
But he wasn't termed a terrorist within South Africa.
Within South Africa.
No, but on that, I agree with you on that.
Under apartheid, he was more than a terrorist.
Under apartheid regime, he was a terrorist.
He was more, that's why he received his conviction for terrorism. So the point I'm trying to make is that if you look at certain organizations, let us, for instance, look at Hamas today. You understand? To us here, Hamas is a terrorist organization, but to Turkey, who is a NATO member, Hamas is not. You understand? So when you call IPOB a terrorist organization, remember that PDP, APC to Canada is likely to be a terrorist organization.
By the judgment of an immigration. So I'm just trying to be careful here. Another point that I want to make is that I'm a lawyer. I've been in positions where I reach decisions and also where I read judgments. When you want to draft a decision as a judge, there is something that you must bear in mind. That thing you must bear in mind is this. And by saying this, I want to slightly deviate from what Barrister Oscar said here about dealing issues on, we are dealing on legality, on conviction, on sentence. Compartmentalizing things that way is not appropriate. In the sense that he knows that no matter who you are, your upbringing, the circumstances that you were brought up, that you grew up in, that you got educated, influence your decisions. And that's why even in America, you have conservatives and you have those who are not conservatives, you understand? So it reflects in their judgments as well. That's why in America, you can even predict the outcome of decisions even before they go to the Supreme Court, to the US Supreme Court. So what influences that is cultural perspective, religious perspective, philosophical underlinings. So in coming to the case of Nnamdi Kanu, it has nothing to do with the law. What is influencing it is ethnicity of Nnamdi Kanu, the issue of Biafra, the issue of self-determination, the issue of colonization, domination, and for the fact that the authorities that are in charge of Nigeria do not want anything to happen that will give Ndi Igbo, Biafrans, especially Ndi Igbo, that leeway to establish a sovereign state of Biafra. Establishing a sovereign state of Biafra, let's look at it this way again. And I believe you have your suggestions to make as this conversation is going on. Nnamdi Kanu is an individual. And when you're talking of Ndi Igbo today, you mean the southeast and part of the south of Nigeria that comprises of this ethnic nationality called Ndi Igbo. And we have political leaders who are, chief executives of the state, who are the chief security officers of the state, who are top-ranking politicians, even at the Nigerian government. And this movement does not align with the position of the leaders from this region. What, do you think that the leaders from the Biafra area would agree with your position?
Exactly. I will answer if you want me to go or you do want to go ahead.
Maybe
you can go ahead.
I want to ask something.
Good. You have tapped me. You said you am a one Nigerian now. I
don't know. Off the record. Remember? I didn't know on record.
Tap me on record. I just want to. I just want the just whatever you want to call me. I'm happy to bear any.
No. I got that in good faith. Not in bad
anyway,
faith.
it's okay. So, but the thing is that like I keep on saying, like Dr. Eze asked. Now, this issue of Biafra, looking back honestly and sincerely, is that actually our problem? That's the question we have not sat back to ask ourselves and to answer. Is that actually the solution to our problem of the Southeast? If that's a question, the political leaders, the people that are involved that should make up this Biafra, would they actually be happy to go or to have this enclave called Biafra? Is that going to solve all our problem? I personally do not think that is the solution to our problem, considering what we have seen and what we see going on currently with the fight for this Biafra. I mentioned it the other time. The silencing of opposing voices, anyone that says that, oh, we don't agree with what you are saying or what we are doing, the way it will be silenced. No opportunity for further discussion to incorporate people who will give you ideas of how we will move this thing forward. Then we have this idea of cult followership of some certain set of people about Nnamdi Kanu as the messiah that we have, that once we get Biafra, all our problems are solved and everything is will be in the state of El Dorado. So now, like I said before, and this is where we have landed ourselves, he's now been convicted. I do not know what will become of him on appeal or if there are going to be a political solution to that.
Okay. You know that, of course, I'm disagreeing with you. The reason I'm disagreeing with you is obvious. We have said it on this platform before, that there was a reason why the elites during colonial time, why they were saboteurs. And you cannot expect somebody who is benefiting from the system to work against the system that he or she is benefiting from. You can know the facts there still remains that if you give, let us take a test, and which is what the Nigerian authorities are afraid of. If you say Biafrans or those in the southeast or some people in the southeast and south, do they want Biafra? Okay, why not give us referendum? Let's see. I am telling you that Biafra will win that. Those who are in support of it will win that referendum by a landslide. That is real. Do you know that if Biafra will not win the referendum, the government of Nigeria will quickly organize it and shut it down instantly?
Yeah, but we have these areas you're talking about. We have governors, we have senators, we have champions of democratic process,
yes,
who have been part of the electioneering process in Nigeria, and they are there. Like we have 5 governors in the southeast, we have 6 governors in the south, part of which are part of this Biafra area you're talking about. Even though some may disagree, but most do agree. And with all these political professors and political machineries, political governors and all these things, not aligning with the area of referendum, don't you think that in their wisdom, because there are a number of them, that in their wisdom that this is not what we need at the moment?
No, I don't think so. They are scared.
Scared of who?
They are scared of the same thing, the same fate that thousands of innocent Biafrans who are either dead today or are languishing without charge. I know that you know that. There are thousands of our people who have not been charged, who are in somewhere in Niger State today without trial, incarcerated by the Nigerian state, just for saying, I want self-determination. I can get you the exact name of their detention facilities. We have lawyers who are, as we are talking, processing and fighting to get them out. The reason these people are not aligning is because of the fear of the Nigerians. Nigeria says it's a brutal state. It maintains the existence of Nigeria through brutal force. Instances abound. We have said this several times here. If you want to test it, look at Lekki. We have said Lekki. Remember that the protest in Lekki was about SARS.
Maz, wait. We are going far away from the main topic of our discussion today.
Yeah.
We are the things you are bringing is we are derailing completely. We are focusing on
The sentencing and conviction.
conviction and sentencing of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. And there was a point you made before at the beginning, which I wanted to respond, but we've talked and become passionate midway about the whole of these things, including you and myself. I'm not exonerating myself on this now. There was something you said about conviction and sentencing and the sentencing report and all those kind of things. Now, the judge can convict you today and sentence you the next minute under Nigerian constitution, under Nigerian law. There is no law that says he has to obtain that sentencing report or he has to rely on that sentencing report to sentence you. And mind you, sentencing report you are talking about would be prepared by someone else. But I don't think that will override the report the judge himself has seen or has written or has observed in the course of this trial. Do you understand what I'm saying? If you are waiting for somebody to go and say, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is fighting for self-determination, he doesn't have a previous conviction, he has a wife somewhere else, he has children and all those things, to put those things into consideration to be able to sentence him. Now, the judge has been observing from day one this trial. You know, when they sit back, you think they are not observing. Sometimes from their behavior, even here in the UK, the judge could say, throughout this trial, in fact, if you plead guilty, they have your sentence. That's the behavior we are talking about. But when you allow them to go through the full process of the trial, you'll probably get the maximum punishment. So that behavior, your demeanor, your respect for constituted authority is taken into account in the sentencing. Then the issue of you have been sentenced today and tomorrow you're transferred to prison. Once you are convicted and sentenced to prison, you cannot be kept in police facility again. That will be breaking the law. So you have to go to, and they will say you'll be sentenced to imprisonment, 10 years, 2 years, or whatever the number of years they want to give to you. So the next thing is moved to the facility. It's a case of, if he had been discharged and acquitted, he cannot be kept in that detention again for any further. Is that not true? If that case had gone the other way and he said, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, the prosecution has not been able to prove any of the charges against you, you are hereby discharged and acquitted. From that dock, you walk away and raise his hand and go home.
So let me expressly counteract what he just said now. And the point that I don't feel comfortable with is when issues concern Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, people throw away what has been happening through the window. Now, first and foremost, during the Nazi era, we all know about Nuremberg laws, the laws the Nazis made. They are a ridiculous set of laws, but those people that the Nazis use their laws to hold can today stand and say, as in the Nazi authorities then, they were able to stand and say, these people were legally convicted according to law. They could say it. So for you to go and start using law to tell me that because of the fact that Nigerian law did not provide, or rather provided, there is nowhere that is prohibited in Nigerian law for you to be convicted and sentenced the next minute, it doesn't fly. Now, the point that he made about being discharged and he would have been a totally different thing. My barrister forgot that
I think he was discharged.
The Court of Appeal discharged him and the Nigerian state refused to release him. He forgot that.
He went on appeal.
Court of Appeal.
He went on the Supreme Court on appeal. Was it the case did not
No,
go
no,
to
no, 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 no. He just said now that if he had been discharged, okay, why didn't they release him during the period from the time he appealed? From the time he appealed, why didn't they release him pending when the Supreme Court reverted the case back to the High Court?
Oh, there is what is called stay of execution.
Stay of execution.
Yes.
So stay of execution.
Somebody that has been acquitted.
Yes.
In a criminal case. So stay of execution. The position my colleague here is taking is in line with the Nigerian state. The reason it's in line with the Nigerian state
is in line with the law.
No.
With the Nigerian law.
It's in line with the useless Nigerian law. Because when it comes to those side of the law that benefits Nnamdi Kanu, and my friend will take the side of the Nigerian state.
Well, you can see that this discussion is taking.
Let me respond. I've been accused of very. For as long as
I called my friend one Nigerian, and he said that he's free to, I agree that he's a one Nigerian.
Well, I said, call me whatever you want. That's what I said. I said, call me whatever you want.
Okay, you don't want to agree to be a one Nigerian.
Well, I have not made that. I have not made that position out to the people. I didn't call me down. So, but you're free to call me. I respect you. I respect you. I respect you.
I didn't call him that on camera. He said it though.
You're calling me on camera.
No, you are the one who said
so,
it.
For as long as we are still, the other day I said Nigeria is my beloved country, and all of you attacked me. But it's my right to decide whether it's my beloved country or not. For as long as Nigeria remains a sovereign nation with laws and regulations, some of them may not be good, some of them may not be bad, may be bad, but then there are laws guiding Nigeria. In this country, in America, they make laws every day. Some of them the courts strike down, some of them keep the court sustain them.
Is Nigeria a lawful country?
Well,
is it a law-abiding country?
Well, let Barrister make his point, because I want to.
In what sense?
Law-abiding. Is Nigeria a law-abiding country?
Well, you see, every country.
Yes.
Every country do what they think they need to do to protect themselves.
No. Either you're a law-abiding country and stick to your laws, or you are not.
Nigeria is
a law-abiding country.
It says Nigeria is a law-abiding country.
If I
will take you up on this later on, because you are saying on camera Nigeria is a law-abiding country.
But it's Nigeria. Things may be wrong in Nigeria. Things may be bad. I have said it repeatedly. So many things are not working. But to say Nigeria is not an anarchist state.
Nigeria did not obey its electoral law. And it's on record.
Well, I think when you are going that way, I think we may be digressing a little bit.
Digressing much.
Yeah, but what I want to ask, there is something that the lawyers in the house mentioned, that when somebody is convicted and the person is sent to the prison or to the correctional center or whatever the name it goes with, that considerations should be made with regards to proximity to family, to medical attention, to further trials that will be coming up. But it doesn't look like in this case sending Mazen Nnamdi Kanu to Sokoto, that those specific factors were put into consideration.
There is no. Nnamdi Kanu was tried at the federal court and was charged with federal crime. And Nigeria practices a federal system of government. We may or may not agree with that. Under the federal system, Nigeria is one. Wherever they will decide to send him to serve his prison term is within the law.
Even though it deviates from the family rules or the medical rules.
No, there is no rule which says that if you are sent to prison, you will have to stay close to your family. These are just mere considerations we are just imputing into the law. They are not there. They are not in our laws. That if you are sentenced to prison, you have to serve in a place where your wife will be coming to visit you or where your mother will be coming to visit you. Keep in mind, where they are going to send you is a place. There are so many. That thing is also not. Is not the only factor they will consider. They will also consider if the jail where they will keep you to to be able to stop or curtail what you were doing, so that you won't continue to propagate it or continue to promote it from your jail. You remember when America killed Osama bin Laden? You remember?
Yes.
Where did they bury him?
In the middle of the ocean.
Why?
No idea.
No, we know. They said they don't want to go and bury him where people would start create a monument for him and start worshiping him and start propagating for extremist agenda or ideology. So they took him away where what he was promoting could not be resurrected.
I think I have to protest. I have to protest.
You have a right to protest.
From
so let me finish. Before you protest.
Equating our Mazen Nnamdi Kanu directly or indirectly with Osama bin Laden.
No.
I am protesting expressly.
No, he's giving an instance.
Those are
why do you think he was taken to Sokoto?
He was taken to Sokoto as a symbolic gesture that a Biafran who is seeking the self-determination of his people should be subjugated by the Fulani Caliphate. That's the reason he was taken to Sokoto. It has nothing to do with detention. He could as well.
I hope there is an evidence to buttress this point.
Is there an evidence for him to buttress his own point?
But if
there's no evidence for him to buttress it.
If you look at the high-profile cases in Nigeria, I'll give President Obasanjo is still alive today, and as a General Obasanjo, he was sentenced. He wasn't. He was sent down to, I think it was Abakaliki that he was sent down. And we've seen cases of, high-level political cases where I was, paying attention to some of the discourses by one of the popular Nigerian activist, Malam Shehu Musa, and he was saying that when he was sentenced, he was taken to Aba all the way from Kaduna.
Dr. Let me ask Mazi a question here. What do you think that would happen if, as Mazi Nnamdi Kanu was convicted and he was sent to a jail in Umuahia, what do you think would happen?
Let me answer him.
Answer him, please.
First and foremost, the Nigerian state should not have moved Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. The reason being that his appeal is still alive. They shouldn't have moved him. They moved Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. No, you cannot ask that question because it hasn't even arisen yet. They moved him in order to show that they have power to lord it over him. No. He shouldn't have been moved.
No, if
his appeal, his doctor is protesting.
No.
His appeal is still pending.
Now, there is something I want to get clearly here. I know our barrister has been he's been trying to be objective, but
no.
Put words in his mouth.
He's not trying to. He's taking the BBC position and the Nigerian state position.
I'm not the BBC. I don't know what the BBC position is.
The BBC position is the propaganda.
So are you calling me the propaganda?
I don't know. You are here carrying the Nigerian state.
Because when you are talking now, you are saying that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu should be kept in DSS detention, and I during this,
he hasn't answered the question I asked him.
Yeah, he will come. You will answer it with this one I want to ask.
Okay.
Because during the process of this trial, there has been position by the former legal team on the continued incarceration of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu at DSS facility. That why is it that he wasn't sent to a correctional center or a prison? Why are they keeping him at DSS facility? And now the judge or the court or the legal system have deemed it fit to that it's time for him to leave the DSS facility and go to a proper correctional center, a proper jail where he would have access to his legal team without friction and all that. And this opposition is now coming up. That why is it that they don't hold him at DSS facility when it was the position of the legal team before now that he should be sent to a prison, not DSS facility? What is the balance of position there?
Thank you for that question, but I think you are getting it wrong. First and foremost, he should be in detention center in Abuja and not in DSS facility. The reason he was left in DSS facility is the same reason why he was transferred to Sokoto. The reason is that they want to make sure that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is psychologically subjugated. Now, if you want to counteract what I have said, then ask yourself one simple question. Why is it that in spite of all the legal maneuverings that his attorneys did, his lawyers did, he was not still sent to detention facility? Why do you think so? Number one. Number two, how can you say that somebody whose lawyers reside in Abuja, that transferring that person to a maximum security prison in Sokoto makes those lawyers available to him? How can you say that? Do you know the distance between Abuja and Sokoto? How is it? And this person has appeal pending. Now, to Barrister Oscar, I want to ask him one simple question. Why are you keep maintaining that the kind of thing that is happening to Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, because he's an Igbo man? Does Barrister here know about a man called Sheikh Gumi? Do you know him?
Yes, I know him.
Who is he? And is he free walking about on the streets today?
You're asking me a question.
Yes, I'm asking, do you know Sheikh Gumi?
I'm going to ask you a question.
Okay.
Do I work for Nigerian police? Yes or no?
Do you work for Nigerian police?
Yes.
No, you don't work for
Do
Nigerian.
I work for Nigerian DSS?
No.
Do I work for Nigerian military?
No.
Do I work for BBC?
No.
Do I work for the Nigerian government?
Well, you don't know. Spies. You don't reveal their ID. So,
no. From all you know.
I won't know whether you.
From all you know. Do I work for Nigerian government?
If you are a Nigerian spy, you wouldn't tell.
I have declared openly here several of who I am. I am Dr. Stanley. I'm a barrister of 21 years standing.
Well, every spy has a plan.
Related to the fact that I'm a BBC spokesperson. I don't work for BBC.
No, I didn't say. I said you take their position.
Well,
not that you work for them. The BBC,
no.
That's why BBC is in trouble now with President Trump, because BBC is a propaganda machine.
That's another issue. Let me say my position. I do not represent anybody. The position I put out here is my view based on my knowledge of the law.
And that is what we
facts
do here
are
as
available
well.
before me. So whenever you try to rope me in,
It's just so coincidental that every position that you have been displaying is according with the government position. How is that so coincidental?
That makes me an intelligent lawyer.
That makes you very, very suspicious.
Nowhere. So I think I've answered their question. I don't work for police. I don't work for DSS. I don't work. They should have more intelligence reports from me. Then if they are not doing what they are supposed to do, we have said it here in this podcast before, there are so many things not working very well. Corruption, insecurity, name it. Things are not working in Nigeria. So you could also add it to the list of the things that are not working in Nigeria, which I am happy to criticize Nigeria at any slightest opportunity, openly, on air, about things that are not working in Nigeria.
And
but as long as it comes to issue of law, I will not put my profession at stake to dish out pieces of advice that are given out by those Okada men who turn the newspaper upside down to read and interpret to you when they are carrying you.
I hope those Okada men will agree with you.
Whether they agree or not,
let me make this point.
Yeah.
As a lawyer, I have read a lot of cases, even in this UK, where they were not settled according to the law, where the government intervened and stopped the trial going on because they are political, because there are security issues. I've read lots of them. So why is it that when it comes to the issue of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, my barrister and friend and brother is always insisting on Nigerian law? You know that let us this issue has arms, legs, and
and we will not finish the issue today.
Let me just make this point.
We need to wrap up.
Do you know a man that is called Musa Oba? Musa Mba or Musa Brigadier Musa Oba, I think, yes, Brigadier Musa Oba. This brigadier was recently eliminated, yes, by I think ISWAP also, all those assets. And it's on record now, information that those who provided these terrorists, these Islamic terrorists, with intelligence to nab that brigadier, were recruited Boko Haram that are inside the army. That are inside the army. So, the point that I'm trying to make, before I just land is because based on what I have said here about the cases that I have witnessed that were closed, stopped, even by this government, because of the fact that they have other issues underlying in them.
Yeah, let me say this thing. In one of the episodes we did, we talked about the issue of clemency and pardon, which are contained in our constitution, section 175 and 212, president and the governor, respectively. And in our constitution, I don't know the exact section now, there is a provision, what we call nolle prosecute, where the attorney general can say, we are not prosecuting again. Those powers are discretionary. Do you understand? They are discretionary. I cannot say because this happened to... I would only stand if I mentioned before that fair hearing is a right to Nnamdi Kanu, and it should be accorded that fair hearing under section 36. I stand by that. Then the ones that are discretionary, I do not have the legal standing to insist that must be done.
The reason
they are even in pardon. President Trump has been pardoning people left, right, and center. In the UK, they pardon. In Nigeria, it has been happening.
How many cases today would you say that have been heard in Nigeria or anywhere in the world? 24 hours, 48 hours after they were heard, you see US lawmakers mentioning about it that they are symbolic of persecution of Christians. How many? But Nnamdi Kanu's case has been said by the US lawmaker. This has nothing to do with the law. It has everything to do with the persecution of the Igbos.
No, Barrister, if I may come in there. Well, if the U.S. lawmaker is saying is a religious persecution against Christians, because that has been the position of the U.S. and President Trump recently, and if you want to link it to the analysis we are doing today, me and you agrees that Nnamdi Kanu is not a Christian. He has a different religion that he is aligned to. But one thing that I believe all of us will agree to, and our followers, our subscribers, our viewers will agree to, is that as a freedom fighter, as somebody that fights for the interest of the masses, it makes no much difference if Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is in Sokoto, or in Port Harcourt, or in Umuahia, or in Lagos, or in Benin, or anywhere, as long as he fights for the interest of the masses. Because when we are talking about this case today, I have listened to some of the things that were said about Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, and some of the things he said is that even those people in Sokoto, even those people in Borno, even those people that Boko Haram have been destroying their places in Benue, in the east, in the south, and everywhere, that he is fighting for their freedom, for all of them. And the freedom he is fighting for in this case is economic liberation for every Nigerian and social stability for every Nigerian. And I believe it is on public record that he has made all these statements. So if going to Sokoto, would his spirit and his engagement with people around there will bring that stability in Nigeria that will make the quest for secession or right to self-determination or the call for Biafra. Because I believe if Nigeria works for everybody, Nigerians will be happy in Nigeria. And I believe most of us will agree to this. And on this note, I would want us to take some concluding analysis as we wrap up this episode in the next 2 minutes. Elder, what do you have to say about this?
It's about the transfer to Sokoto.
What is the takeaway from this conversation today?
My takeaway is that I haven't read the full judgment. I've read bits and pieces. I'm still looking to get the full judgment to read it. And one of the things my criminal law teacher taught me said that he doesn't cite law from the pages of newspaper or from social media. So I don't cite law from social media posts. I want to have the certified copy of the judgment to read it and to be able to put out a proper informed decision. And I'm going to do that as soon as possible. But my position is this. If there are people who could get in touch with Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. He still has the right of appeal to the Court of Appeal and to Supreme Court. And this is an opportunity to usher in the political settlement my colleague has been talking about. You know, sometimes when you go and challenge governments, there's something that people are saying, I don't know if you guys know what that means. You bet with somebody that you're not going to do this. Then the person will show you by all means that I can do this. So the political settlement that he is suggesting cannot come by the way Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is behaving in court. Challenging everybody, calling everybody stupid, antagonizing the judges. They will say, to hell be with you. Even when the executive is intervening, the judge said, please, we're independent, we will do our job. So they would even be angry to even, sentence him and say, you know what, do your worst. But if he could bend down, cool down, get a good legal team, comport himself, appeal, Court of Appeal, Supreme Court, then it might be an opportunity for this political settlement to come in and capitalize on that and say, you know what, yeah, we can overturn this in Court of Appeal. And if it's overturned at the Court of Appeal, then there's nothing the High Court could do at that stage. So he still has 2 chances more to get things proper, which I think one of the things he should do is to get a very good legal team to champion his appeal. Because as a lawyer, by my experience and everything, he would struggle to even file a proper notice of appeal, to even challenge that at the Court of Appeal. So that would be my honest suggestion.
Thank you very much. And, the message is clear. For you to get a proper representation at the bars and benches, you need somebody who is very well experienced in the legal process. I believe Mazi will have something to say about this before we conclude.
Yeah, and what I have to say is I think it was those that Americans call their founding father. He said for people to be free, that the field of freedom must once in a while be watered with the blood of tyrants and the blood of freedom fighters. For Biafra to be free, I believe that we must be prepared to produce a sacrificial generation. If we don't do that, we can't be free. If you look at the judgment which I have read, just like the Nazi laws, this man was there picking and choosing only those sections that favor the conclusion that he wants to reach. He conveniently avoided the sections that are the current laws but don't favor his own conclusion. This is just a manipulated judgment that was written, a script that was written for him to read out. It has no effect as far as I'm concerned in international law, and whether the Court of Appeal strikes it down or whether the Supreme Court strikes it down, the solution to Mazi Nnamdi Kanu's case still remains political and not legal, because Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is a freedom fighter. The right he has is caucus, jus cogens. It can never be removed by him because it's a right given to him by God for him to choose his own political, economic, and social pathway. And that is what we want. And we shall continue to support him no matter the angle that the Nigerian state wants. Because Nelson Mandela told us that it's always impossible until it is done. So
when you talk of the right given to him by the God, is he the God of the Bible? You're referring to
well, maybe we would have more time to analyze the God that gave that power or that ability to be the freedom fighter. And I believe whatever freedom we are fighting for, it should be for the freedom of the people. We don't want to see people perish because we are fighting for freedom, but we want that freedom to be in the interest of the well-being of the people. And on this note, I believe you have learned a lot today from all these discussions, and I believe you have one or two things to say. Please do say what you want to say in the comment section. Send it across to us. We'll analyze it, and I'm always happy to bring whomever you want us to bring back here. We'll sit here and digest every analysis that is required in this situation. And on this note, I want to thank you again for engaging with us on Glasscast podcast. Remember, we analyze issues the way they are. We don't take positions. We don't try to influence any policy or individual, but we give you the analysis. Sometimes it could be we could get a bit excited and maybe overwhelmed because of the subject of discussion, but things are not taken personal on this platform. We'll see you again in the next episode. Have a good time.